Hey everyone, I'm back. Feel like it's been a long time since I've done a video. I am going to do a August garden tour, even though it's at the end of August. I'm gonna take you through, just show you guys how everything's doing. I did do a video that shows what I planted for fall, but the lighting is awful. I don't even know. I'm gonna try and use it. If not, it's okay. I'm just gonna explain it through this video. But anyways, welcome to my channel. This is the Yoder Homestead. I'm Karen. This is my May, June, July, August 5th garden tour this year. And I'm just gonna show you guys how everything's doing. There's a lot of stuff that is gonna be torn out. Hey, you gotta be quiet. My little puppies, they wanna be in the video too. But there's a lot of things that I tore out or need to be torn out, especially like annuals and just stuff that's really tired. So, but here in front of the house we have volunteer sunflowers. It's actually really pretty because I really like looking out this window and seeing the sunflowers because our house sits up pretty high. So like to actually see flowers in front of this window is not possible unless you plant sunflowers. And these are all volunteers, so I'm really impressed that they came back up. The bees are loving their life. Some of them are spent, like more on the other side, and you can see up there's some of them that are already done. This plant is the Mexican sunflowers that I started inside this winter, and some of them did really well, and then others are still like super tiny. Like you can see this little one right here, super tiny yet. The butterflies love these, the bees love these. I really like this plant. I like how big it got, and it really like has a wispy feel to it beside the grasses and stuff. So I think I might do that again. I've been taking notes of things that I really like, things that did well, things that I want to repeat and plant again or start again, or just different things. The roses have some blooms on them still, but this one's gotten pretty big too. And my mums, these are actually mums that I bought from a nursery. They said that they weren't perennial mums, so I decided to try it anyway and plant them in the ground. So now you can see it's loaded with buds. So I'm kind of curious to see what color this one will be. And then I have some creeping phlox, which that'll grow a lot into the spring. There's one on the other side as well. Grasses. This mum actually started to bloom, which gets me really excited for fall. This is kind of a mess. I let it go, but I realized it's only one plant, and I believe it's a pumpkin plant, but there's not another plant to pollinate it. And I don't know if it needs that or not, but it helped keep my dogs out of this flower bed. So I just let it go and let it kind of do its thing. Hi, babies. What are you doing? But yeah, so we have sunflowers. So pretty. They just look stunning in the sun. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. See if I can get one like that. This one's done. It's starting to form its seeds, so the birds will probably get their first shot at that. Then down here I have my purple coneflower Echinacea that I started from seed. This is a perennial, so it'll fill in this whole back area. My lilies are all done, so those I'm just gonna let them go. They start to, you can see these, swell, and inside these pods are where the seeds are. Lilies do form tubers, but the seeds turn into the tubers. So if you would like to plant them somewhere else, you can wait until these dry out and take the seeds out of them and plant them somewhere else as well. Like these irises do the same thing. So this is all dry now, so inside of here will be the seeds for that specific iris. All right, so let's jump over here. Planted some cosmos in here. There's just a couple that came up. Strawberry bed is doing wonderful. It has been producing like crazy again, which we are really thankful for. We love our strawberries. I'm gonna have to go through and really thin out the runners and just stuff like that. They're kind of spilling over the sides, and just clip them back so that the mother plants, they're called mother and daughter plants. I just think that's really cool. but the mother plants can focus on producing and continuing to produce. In here I did lettuce, spinach, and kale. Some of it's coming up. You can see a little bit right here and right here. It needs some water. Yeah, need to water that. My tomato experiment failed in the wood chips. They never really put on, they just keep going up. They never really put on like width growth and like leaf structure and anything. So the soil's not quite ready for all of that. And here I planted milkweed. I did this from seed. So this will reseed itself. This is a perennial. It's a mixed blend of oranges and reds and pinks, all kinds of colors. The butterflies love, love, love this plant. If you need butterfly attractant plant a variety like this. I did see a caterpillar on it. I wonder where it went, because I actually wanted to see if I could catch a caterpillar and put it in a jar so that Viviana could see it turn into a butterfly and let it go again. My onions, some of them are ready to come out. I think I'm just gonna pick them out. Some of them are still pretty big, but they kind of are flopping over. There's a lot of weeds in here again, and tomatoes from last year. I just don't think the onions got enough sun over here to really create like large bulbs. This is a Walla Walla variety. I'm kind of curious to see what they taste like, even if they're just small bulbs like this, but they have like pretty good skin on them, so I'm kind of curious if I would pull them out just to see how they do. Right here is asparagus. My cilantro has turned into coriander, so these little seed pods here are actually the seeds to plant cilantro and your coriander seeds. So you let those dry out really well and you have coriander. This is asparagus. I finally trimmed back my parsley and it actually killed 2 plants there in the middle, but asparagus is doing well. It's looking really well. So it'll be another 2 years before we can really harvest off of that. And then I'm gonna jump over here. It's probably really bright, but there's some shaded area. This is a huge mum. I need to stake it. This is the 3rd year now that it's coming back, and it has just really classic white flowers with yellow centers. The petunias are doing okay still. They need some fertilizer. There's a whole bunch of weeds and everything going on in this bed. That right there is the purple coneflower echinacea that I started from seed. This gets way more sun. You can kind of tell. I'm gonna go back here in the shade. You can kind of tell it gets way more sun. Leaves are way bigger, so I'm really liking how this is gonna look next year. So, and some grasses and just things that are tired of the heat. But everything has just really needed a lot of water. This hydrangea never bloomed, but this one did. Pink blooms, kind of getting towards the end. The holly berries are putting on hollies. Really pretty. This one, I don't know what happened. I think it didn't get enough water too many times. Then I just have hosta and stuff like that in here. These hosta have put on, I think, 2 leaves that I planted earlier this year, but this pot right here is amazing. Oh my goodness. The coleus swallowed up the caladiums, but it just looks stunning. I really hope it lasts into fall because I really want to do some pumpkins with that red color. I just think that's really, really pretty. I might dig out the caladiums and put them in a pot by themselves and take them inside to overwinter. My pots are probably going to be torn out this week, and I have some ornamental kale and cabbage and some fall stuff to put in these pots here because these are pretty much all done. I might leave this here but take everything else out, and then I have some zinnias that are in here yet, so this whole area will fill in yet with zinnia. The sedum I see is blushing. That means fall is close by. And then up here I have bee balm. Jump over here in the shade, then you can see it a little bit better. All of this is bee balm. So this will perennialize itself, and I want it to really be like a large cluster back here by the house. It's also a butterfly attractant, bees, everything, pollinator. This lemon coral sedum is amazing. I might actually just tear the other things out and let it just do its thing. Bachelor buttons that I did from seed. Note to self, you have to plant those really close by each other so that they have something to stand up on or lean on each other. So here's my ornamental cabbages, kales, whatever they are, and some vinca vines that I'm gonna put in the fall pots, and start doing that pretty soon. So that stuff needs to get off that concrete wall. This pot over here is just something fun. Some Gomphrena. I actually thought it was funny because when I planted these, they had no blooms on them. So it ended up in order, dark, light, white. And then this really helps with mosquitoes and stuff like that. I'm gonna do this plant again on our deck next year. Has a really good scent to it. The grass, well, let me get back in the shade here. So this area looks amazing. There's still some spots. You can see actually where the dogs keep running. They keep running the same way back to their kennel, like every time. So there's like a trail where they walk. And this grass turned out really amazing. To think that we had a excavation company bring us the dirt. It wasn't screened or anything like that, for free. They dropped it off, we spread it out, got a large like kind of mulcher unit, tilled it really well, tried to get like big rocks and sticks and roots and stuff like that off of it. It turned out to be a lot more clay than we thought, but the grass turned out to be really pretty. It's a very calming look back here. I'm gonna try to find some before pictures of what it looked like before there was grass. So I really, really like that this filled in so well with grass. There's like spots, like I said, that we're gonna need to add some more seed and some compost and just get it to really fill in. But this is a great shaded area. Great shaded area. It gets sun later in the afternoon, but for the most part, it's shaded and it's beautiful. All right. The garden is looking tired. These actually started to bloom again. This is salvia. And the dianthus did as well. My hyssop I need to plant somewhere in the landscape because that's a perennial. Chamomile is pretty much done. I've taken a lot of blooms off. Enough to do like some cups of tea. The larkspur finally bloomed. This stuff took forever. Like, I don't even know. I did something wrong probably, but zucchini plants are pretty much done. I don't know. I think, note to self, do not leave 3 plants in one pot. It didn't work. It was just too much and they started getting powdery mildew and it's just too much leaf canopy for one pot of this size. And then in here, I redid rutabagas, bunching onions along the front. Over here I did my brassicas. I'm going to give those a try again this fall, just to see if I can keep the caterpillars at bay a little bit better. My borage reseeded itself, so that's coming up, and you can see it's like all through here. Tomato plants are doing amazing, like amazing. So this is beefsteak varieties. There's 3 plants, and then half of the other side is garden treasure. As you can see, they're loaded right now. I have a couple more sunny days and then it looks like some rain, so I'm gonna need to take these off of here, but they're doing amazing. Like, there's some pretty large tomatoes on here. Like, look at this. I don't know if you can see it, but like, they're pretty big. They're getting soft, but they're still a little bit orange tinted. Some of them are getting a deeper red shade, but I'm really impressed with these 2 varieties. They did really, really well. I didn't really have an issue with hornworms. There was a couple, I picked them off and I didn't really have an issue since then. I did get a black light. Just every once in a while I'll come out and check because it's so much easier to see them at night. Because when they're still little, it's so hard to pick them out during the day. I mean, like, these plants are kind of nice because my raised beds are really tall, so like you can really look up and see if there's any on there. They did some damage before I caught them, but nothing too major to like stunt the plant or anything. So really impressed with that. I'm gonna need to figure out a better staking system. next year or trim them a little bit better. I don't know. It just, there's a lot like kind of fell over and I had to use some wooden stakes. These did pretty good. I planted them close enough that I could use the trellis really well in the middle. So I'm really impressed. These are my favorite. These are Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. Absolutely a must. They're really, really sweet. Super productive. And they're the best when you pick them when they're still warm from the sun. If you like tomatoes and you like sweet tomatoes, definitely plant this one. Corn was a fail. I don't think my soil level is deep enough for corn. That, or it was too late and it got torn out 3 times by crows when I planted it when it was still little. The ears are only like this big. That's a fail. Learned a lot. I'm gonna try it again next year. It's just like they're just little and you can see like there's some kernels on it, but it's not like it should be. I did some bee balm back here. This will perennialize and I kind of wanted it to fill in this side just to attract pollinators. Celery all along the front of the in-ground bed. I did some sunflowers, some watermelon. This also got destroyed multiple times. It's really stunted its growth. I don't know. I don't think it's going to have enough time to really grow and produce melons yet this year. This corn, I'm kind of curious. It might have some ears on it that are like edible. And then over here is melons. Like I said, these two got ripped out and just struggled. These are sunflowers. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty good size to think. Interesting. Yeah, so we'll see. And over there's another one. So maybe I get like one meal or like a couple cobs. Some sunflowers back here. It's really pretty. But that's what's going on. I guess there were seeds in the compost, but sunflowers came up in my compost pile. I thought that was pretty cool. Probably enough to make a little bouquet from sunflowers. They're pretty. Just little. And over here, this basil went to flower. It's huge. It's massive. And then these are the Garden Gem tomatoes. They have a really, really good flavor. They're really just smaller size. The plant didn't get super huge. It was attacked by hornworms, so that might be its thing. These are Ace 55, so this is more like a sauce tomato, as well as the next one. And then I have Red Pride. So you can tell these are starting to get close. Oh, there's a couple on here that are getting close, but they're more like kind of an orangey look yet. And in there, this plant struggled as well. This was the only one that had this leaf curl issue, and it just kind of never really snapped back from it. This basil plant is beautiful. Definitely planting this again. I just thought it was stunning to just see it like that. Then I have another Sun Gold over here, and this one got attacked by hornworms as well. It's actually doing pretty good. Then I planted some beans here, and this will do the trellis thing. And beans on this side as well. The borage reseeded itself over here as well. So I have borage in here. I wanted to just leave this back area and let it do its thing. Then in here I did beets, carrots, more beets. This is Easter egg radishes along the front. And that's all coming up really well. Excited for that. This is the straight 8 cucumber. Ooh gosh, there's some that are getting pretty big. Gonna need to take those off. Doing really well. That plant has done really well, even though it just looks sick. I don't know. These, however, did not do very well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just learning. I think too, next year there's gonna be like drip hoses running through the beds to keep them hydrated the same time for the same amount of time every single day, so that I don't have to try and water everything in, because like sometimes we got really good amounts of rain and other times it spanned for a lot of time before we got rain. So it's just it was probably my error. Like I didn't get enough water to it and it just destroyed the plants. And over here I have peppers. These are setting a lot of fruit. Got some green peppers in here. So that's exciting. My banana peppers have done amazing. I'll take more off. We actually want to do a pizza night, and I thought that would be perfect for all these banana peppers. There's some actually turning orange, so those need to come off. You can see all the tomatoes peeking through. And then over here I have these turn red and yellow and orange. I think this is called the California blend. No, sweet pepper blend over here. And those peppers. And then this is like a jalapeno. It's called Fuldia, but get some that are bigger. And then I want to do like stuffed peppers, but that needs water as well. Let's jump over here. Cucamelons. I actually really like these. I'm definitely going to plant them again. They're just really refreshing. I don't know. I just like them. The flavor is really good. The nasturtiums are pretty much done. There's some flowers on it yet, but they're really starting to set seeds. You can tell right here. That's a nasturtium seed. So I might go through and pick some of those. So I really like that Alaska variety with the variegation in the leaves and just the different color flowers. Green stalk is needing to be torn out and redone. I have chives along the bottom. Those are all doing really well. But like my thyme, oh, this is actually doing really well too yet. It smells amazing. Marjoram is done. Probably setting seeds soon. And then tomato plants are done. These were Terry Falls, so they kind of produced all of their tomatoes at one time. My cousin actually turned them into salsa. Turned out really, really well, but that plant needs to come out. The marigolds. Lettuce has bolted, too hot. Oh, I was actually kind of curious what these are going to look like, because this was like a red lettuce, and I wanted to see some of what the flowers look like, so I wanted to let them go. That's what's going on right now in the garden. I've learned a lot. It's really fun to learn everything, but you also have to like make sure, like, don't let yourself get stressed out. Like, just enjoy it. Don't overplant. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, just do enough to what you are comfortable with. Don't over, do it, because it's a lot of work. And if you overdo it, then it gets to a point where you don't enjoy it anymore. I don't ever want that to be the case for, especially a new gardener. Just find some favorite plants and just fill a small space. Container gardening is a huge thing. You can container garden. You can do so much with a small space. And like for me, this was perfect. This was a lot. Like, this was enough to keep me going because I have my other raised beds over there. This space for me was a perfect learning space and will be a perfect learning space, because I can put enough variety of things in and really enjoy the process of it, but not get overwhelmed with having too much to deal with, having too much to prune. And like I said, like, watering will be a thing that I will really have to change next year, because that takes a lot of time, because you really have to do deep watering, and to do soaker hoses. Well, but it just makes more sense. So we're going to run around out here and have soaker hoses in this area so that it can be watered at the same time for the same amount of time whenever it needs to be watered. So another thing too, like, I planted a lot of tomatoes because I was really excited. I love tomatoes, like, huge fan. I also forgot to show these. These are Roma tomatoes. There's a bunch on there. So I'm actually going to probably collect some in the next, maybe today or tomorrow, because I have a lot in the house that have ripened now and need to be used. So I'm going to do some sauce and some pasta sauce and just different things like that. But these are so heavy. Oh, poor thing, like bent over. This basil is really pretty too. It's just a little one popping out there. But yeah, it's loaded, so I'm gonna have to go through and really trim those and get those out. I might do all my tomatoes in one bed. Like, even if it's the big varieties and the small varieties, I might do them all in one bed next year. Peas, I will not be planting on trellises because they didn't climb not even halfway up. Just stuff like that. Like, learning how your space thrives the most is really important. Yeah, you learn as you go. That is everything right now. It's gonna change probably dramatically in the next garden tour, just because there's a lot of things I'm gonna tear out and clean up or replant for the fall. I did a lot of planting already for fall. There are some things that need to come out, and I still have time for like really short things, or maybe doing another thing of radishes, or just something that can handle the cold weather when winter comes. Things that I was really disappointed with were crows, planting corn and having it plucked out. So that was something that was like, I need to either set up like something that waves or sparkles or bags or something to keep the birds away in the wind, you know, the crackle like the bags do. Celery took a long time. I'm actually thinking we're gonna have that in the fall here. Melons, those struggled. I think I would have done better if I would have done one melon plant in like one of those big pots and just set them back there and just let them kind of cascade out of the pot. I just don't think this soil was deep enough this year for large plants like corn and melons. That's something I learned. Trial and error, you only learn by doing. Aphids I did have in the beginning, but I then saw ladybugs, so they took care of that, which was awesome. The like cabbages, like brassica caterpillars, like my broccoli, my Brussels sprouts, my cabbage, my cauliflower, all of those got destroyed. I actually wasn't able to harvest anything off of those plants. I let them go to flower, especially the broccoli, because I wanted to see what it looks like, just to, I don't know. I enjoy seeing the whole lifespan of a plant, just to see what it looks like. So that was something that in the beginning I could keep the caterpillars off, but eventually it just got like, it was just continuous. So that's something I did buy neem oil so that I have it for the fall, which the cooler temperatures probably will make so that I don't have as much bug infestation, but that was a bummer because they looked really good. Like the plants looked awesome and I was really excited, and then to not be able to harvest anything off of it was a pretty big bummer. I learned a lot from that. Beans, I'm excited. I didn't get to plant any beans in the spring garden because I didn't have room, and I wish I would have done it differently because I wouldn't have planted so many peas. Marigolds I really liked having because I feel like those really helped with bugs as well. I had plenty of pollinator plants back here because this area was new, and I really wanted to make sure that I had plants that would attract them, so that like the tomato plants and just stuff that has blooms, and cucumbers have bees flying around and pollinating those plants. Lettuce was a huge success on the green stalk. I really enjoyed that. The cherry falls, I really loved the cascading tomatoes coming off the side of it. All my perennials that are in there are going to be perfect to plant over in the other bed. I'm going to do all of my herbs and stuff like that in the far side raised beds. Keep them all over there, or keep them in one specific area because I really want those to all be together and kind of easy to grab because that's closer to the house and it's just nice. I did talk about the leaf curl a little bit. It only happened to one plant, so that didn't really bother me that much. The onions, like I said, that was kind of a bummer. I don't know if it just didn't get enough sun over there or if it wasn't enough water, I'm not sure, but the onions I'll probably plant somewhere else, maybe like in the in-ground here in the garden space, and see how they do. Garlic is something that I will be planting in the in-ground space for the winter because you can plant it in the fall and then let it go through the winter, and then it's ready to harvest like early summer, something like that, late spring, early summer. Another thing I would like to do is I never did my trellising system on the arbor part, and I really want to do something with flowers to add some more color. When you really first look at it, there's a lot of green going on, so I just wanted to add some color, just some pretty things, because you have to enjoy going into your garden space, and if you don't, you're not going to take care of it. The garden needs the gardener, and if the gardener's burnt out, the garden suffers. Like, you just have to be aware, like, make it a space that you enjoy to spend time in. Make it a space that you look forward to working in. Be mindful of what size that you need. This size was perfect. I'm going to work on the in-ground garden more and keep adding compost and wood chips and let that break down just so that keeps producing more soil. Overall, I had a great experience with the summer garden. I think everything did really well. There are some things that I would change that I started from seed. So like my pepper plants, I forgot to fertilize them like I should have. That really like hindered their growth. They really took a long time before they really started to put on like really nice green growth. So that was something I learned in seed starting, just to make sure I didn't read the bag properly, the soil that I got, and it didn't have fertilizer in it. I did not know that until I realized my plants were yellowing and suffering, and so I did some research, and the soil that I bought for seed starting does not have fertilizer in it. So you have to make sure that you have fertilizer, water soluble fertilizer, that you can apply once a week or whatever, you know, the plant that you're starting needs to have. I'm going to start a lot of things again. Tomatoes for sure. There are some other like really pretty tomatoes that I want to grow. I just wanted to kind of stick with things that were familiar to me, to grow things that I knew like what they need. If it's, you know, suffering a little bit, I'm gonna get stung by a bee yet. Sitting beside this basil plant and one on the other side. The bees are crazy right now. Tomatoes. There are some like varieties that I want to grow that are purples and like yellows and just different things. And now I know I don't need to start as many tomatoes. I did give them away to friends and family, which was really fun. All my tomato plants came up. So I planted like a bunch of starts, or I had a bunch of starts because I started a bunch from seed. And it was just a lot. Like, it was a lot. So now I know, like, I only need, like, 6 pepper plants. So I can pick, like, 6 different kinds. And I only need, what did I plant? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 tomato plants. I planted 16 tomato plants. Like, I can, instead of having 3 beefsteak, I could do 1 beefsteak and then like another heirloom large slicer tomato, and just different stuff like that. There's a lot of different varieties that I want to get for next year, and that makes me really excited because I just like trying new things. I like trying different stuff. Nasturtium Flower was a new thing for me this year. Really enjoyed those, and they're really high in vitamin C. So if you have flu or sick or anything like that, especially going into the winter, a lot of people dry the flowers for teas and stuff like that, and it really helps your immune system stay on top of it. Basil was a huge thing. I loved the basil smell walking through. That's another thing I'll do. Like, something I want to add, something that's pretty, is like a rose, or I don't know, just something that's permanent, that has really beautiful structure walking into the front of the garden. Watch for my seed ordering video, because I'm going to be ordering seeds and stuff for next year. I'll show you guys kind of what I either will show you what I got or what I'll be ordering, like flipping through the catalog. Probably what I got, because it's just easier to go through seed packs. That is where we're at this year so far. The August garden tour. Thank you guys for joining me as I learn, as I share, and I hope to be doing better and sharing more content. There was a lot going on. We had a lot going on during the summer. It's just really hard because it's really busy for us, and I didn't grab the camera. I worked on a lot of things, just worked on them as I could, and for me it's not second nature yet to go grab the camera and bring you guys with, even though I wanted to. And by the time I was already like halfway through the project, I realized, oh, I didn't get the camera. Sorry about that, but I do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.